Yeah, so the Prime Minister announced that we would be reopening the economy faster than expected, and that's been really positive news. So non-essential businesses are now opening up in Ireland, across Ireland. We're able to travel. Life is returning back to normal, and you may have seen that all around the world, Irish visa offices are opening and issuing visas for students to come in September. In the new term. So we're really pleased about that in Ireland. It's really positive. And as you can see on the screen, there's been really quite a lot of help for international students studying here in Ireland. Free healthcare has been provided. For anybody affected by COVID. There's been a welfare payment for any students that had part-time jobs and have lost those jobs because of COVID. The government is actually paying them €350 per week for a minimum of 12 weeks to help them stay here in Ireland and to support themselves here. So that has been really fantastic for some of our students who, as I say, maybe they had part-time jobs in hotels, for example, during their studies, and those hotels closed during the coronavirus crisis, and those students lost their jobs. They have been able to get that €350 per week payment from the government. And it was not just for Irish citizens, it was not just for EU citizens, but for anybody living in Ireland. And that included international students, and that included people on part-time jobs. So super positive response from the Irish government. And I guess I was particularly pleased to see that, not just because it helps our students here in the country, but because it sends a really positive message from the Irish government saying that international students are welcome here. We want you here. We want you to stay. And the reason for that, and I'm just going to pull up this on the screen now. The reason for that is that the Irish government knows that they need international students in the country. Ireland is a small country. We're just 4.7 million people, but we have a very fast-growing economy. So let me just pull this. Let me just pull this up on the screen now and just show you a couple of things from last year. The Irish economy was actually growing very fast indeed. We had unemployment rates at 4.4%, so below that 5% threshold that economists consider full employment. We actually had average master's graduate salaries of over €40,000. That's the average master's graduate salary. People graduating from the technology degrees in computer science and data analytics were earning much higher than that figure. And the average bachelor's graduate salary was €29,600 per year. So really, really high starting salaries for graduates. And just an indicator of the economy flying along. And that is the reason that the Irish government really has supported international students during this crisis. They know that international students contribute to the economy, and in fact that the Irish economy needs international students to keep it growing. The Irish government has been really effective for the economy here in Ireland, and we've been lucky going into this global crisis to have a really strong economy going into it, to take really swift action to support the economy. So there's a whole raft of measures for businesses to help them during these difficult times. But also Ireland is lucky in that it has sectors. It has the economy, the sectors where it is strong are sectors that economists are considering will be really resilient during this crisis. So, for example, we're really strong in the technology sector. So there's big, often US technology companies, all of which that they have their European headquarters, not in London, not in Frankfurt, not in Paris, but in Dublin. So really strong in the tech sector, really strong in the medical sector, medical devices, medical technology, really strong in the biopharma sector. A lot of biological research, pharmaceutical research happens here in Ireland. And that is one of the reasons, and let me share my screen again. It's one of the reasons why a lot of people are saying that Ireland is likely to be really resilient coming out of this global crisis that we're in. Take a look at these newspaper headlines. There was an OECD report out a month and a half ago or so saying that Ireland would be the most resilient country in Europe to emerge out of this global crisis. But take a look at some of those headlines talking about some of the strengths of the Irish economy. And that's just on the screen there, just a bit of a summary of what I just talked about in terms of the strength of the Irish economy in particular sectors that we can really expect to be pretty resilient coming out of this global crisis. So what I wanted to tell you about today was one particular of our partners, and that is Dublin City University. And I wanted to start by talking about the economy because Dublin City University is the #1 university in Ireland for graduate employment outcomes. It's actually number 19 in the world for graduate employment outcomes. So very, very strong when it comes to getting students started in their careers when they graduate from Dublin City University. And that's for a number of reasons. The programs that DCU teaches, they are often built in connection with industry. Almost all of the programs at DCU have an internship or a work placement as part of them. DCU puts a lot of support into helping students with their CV, with their interview practice, organizing careers fairs. Its careers support service is really first rate. And actually right now, all of that support is being provided online for students. So as you know, in Ireland, university campuses closed in March, on the 16th of March, and all students started studying online. So they actually finished out the semester online, and DCU has been able to be really helpful to them as they finish their degrees and go into the workplace for those of them that were finishing the final year of their degree this year. All right, so really strong DCU in graduate employment outcomes, and then take a look at this. I want to tell you about your opportunities to join DCU right now, because you'll know that direct entry for this autumn is now closed at DCU, but there is an opportunity still to join DCU, and that is via the International Foundation Program. Here, let me show you this. So there is a pre-bachelor's and pre-master's program at Dublin City University. Yeah, here we go. And what that means is that you come to DCU to do 1 or 2 semesters you do 1 or 2 semesters, and then you progress to the destination degree of your choice. Now, DCU actually has a partnership with the Institute of Technology, Carlow, so that it means all students can get a backup option as well. Dependent on the grade they get in the foundation program, they can either progress to their destination degree at DCU, or if they don't achieve that grade, they can go to the partner, IT Carlow. Now, I have to tell you, over the last 2 years, 100% of students have passed their foundation program exams and been eligible to progress to DCU. So this is not a program designed to catch anybody out, to stop you progressing. It's actually designed to get you into DCU and into the degree that you really want to study. It's actually better than that. When we look at the data from DCU, and DCU did this analysis last year, they actually show that students who joined a degree via the foundation program scored better than those students who joined directly into their destination degree. So the foundation program actually accelerates students' progress to mean that they have a better chance of scoring a higher grade in their degree. Let me just show you what it looks like at pre-bachelors and then at pre-masters. So this is what the pre-bachelors package looks like, and it is a package. You make one application, you get one offer letter. Your offer letter includes your offer for the foundation program, plus your conditional offer for your bachelor's or master's degree. And that conditional offer, the condition is just that you pass the foundation program exams. There's no external exams, so there's no extra IELTS test, just the exams set by your teachers on the foundation program. And as I said, 100% of students over the last 2 years pass those exams, eligible to progress. So at bachelor's, in your first year, you'd do 1 or 2 semesters on the foundation program, and then you'd progress to either a 3 or a 4-year degree at DCU. Undergraduate degrees at DCU are either 3 or 4 years. And you can progress to all of the most popular degrees at DCU in computer science, in engineering, in business, in science, in maths. And then, of course, in Ireland, you get that post-study work visa. So you get the 1-year post-study work visa for a bachelor's graduate. And for an undergraduate, you get a 2-year post-study work visa. Let me show you what the pre-masters package looks like here. So of course, a master's degree in Ireland is usually just 1 year, 12 months long. So this is what the pre-masters package would look like. You do your first year, either 1 or 2 semesters. So if you did a 1-semester foundation program pre-masters, that would actually only take you 3 or 4 months. You could join in January or May for that 1-semester program, or in September or January for the 2-semester program. So you do your first year on the pre-masters program. Your second year would be your master's degree. And again, you can progress to all of those most popular degrees at DCU: MSc Computer Science, MEng in Electronic Engineering, the MSc in Business Strategy or Management, the Digital Marketing MSc, and then you'd be eligible for your 2-year post-study work visa when you graduate. And I think the key thing to show you to show you is the delta in the entry criteria. What I mean is, it is really tough to get into direct entry degrees at DCU. At bachelor level, you need very high scores in your high school examinations. At master's level, you need to score very highly in your bachelor's degree. And in fact, some of those most competitive programs, so data analytics, for example, that computer science degree that I showed you, those programs actually, so this year, for example, they were at capacity and closed acceptances for applications, closed applications in January. So well ahead of the start date for the academic year, and the level that DCU were requiring was much higher than the minimum standard. So to join data analytics, for example, there were many disappointed students who missed who achieved the minimum standard, but actually because there were so many people applying, DCU were accepting students only with the very highest scores. Students, however, who had applied for the foundation program and joined on the pre-masters, they would be at the front of the queue and guaranteed to progress to those highly competitive degrees as long as they passed their foundation exams. So it is a way of getting into those highly competitive programs at DCU. And you can see why they're highly competitive, right? They're highly competitive because they directly linked into some of the key industries in Ireland. And right now, those key industries that are super resilient and really likely to do very well coming out of this global crisis that we're in. Okay, and just to tell you a little bit about what this fall will look like, because right now DCU are still accepting applications for the International Foundation Program at undergraduate and at postgraduate level. You can apply right now. You can get an offer letter very quickly, and then you can apply for your visa if you need a visa to come to Ireland in the autumn. So visa offices around the world are open. Ireland is issuing student visas, and students will be welcome to come to Ireland in the autumn. DCU's term starts on the 5th of October, so it's a little bit later this year than a normal year, and that does mean that you have time to apply and to come. And the mode of teaching will be online or hybrid for that first semester, and then in the second semester it will be a hybrid and on-campus delivery. What that means for the first semester at DCU is that if you choose to come to Ireland, you will access the virtual learning environment that DCU provide. You will have many of your lectures will be recorded and accessible to watch live or asynchronously. You will start to have some small group seminars and discussion groups in the first semester, certainly on the International Foundation Program. You will have access to the campus. So students can access the campus. As I think you saw at the beginning slide that I showed, campuses are starting to open now. Staff are returning at the beginning of August to campuses, which is the summer holidays for students. But so campuses will be well open by the autumn. Now, there will be some restrictions in place on the campuses. You know, we can expect the libraries, for example, to be limited as to how many people can access them at any one time. Maybe certain students will be able to access them on certain days, or maybe there'll be a limit on how many students can come in. So there will be some restrictions like that in place, and the campuses are preparing for you know, for putting social distancing in place, markers on the pathways to show how far apart you need to keep from each other, hand sanitizers on the entrances, things like that. So you can expect some restrictions, and those will ease, we expect, as the first semester goes on, and by the second semester in January. But DCU will be delivering everything via its virtual learning environment and online. Assignments will be set online. You'll be able to access your tutors and your teachers. And so actually, if you want to at DCU, you can choose to stay in your home country and study online for that first semester, and then come to Ireland for the second semester. It's your choice at DCU how to do it. Let me just show you a quick summary of some of that, and a little bit of what that online will look like. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so this is just a little summary of what I've said, what that online learning will look like for DCU. you can still access all of that support. And as I said, the careers service, is doing excellent work at DCU right now for students who have completed the last semester online. And I just wanted to show you the Faculty of Engineering and Computing because, here's just one example at DCU. These guys have been doing online learning for a long time. This is not new for DCU. They have, of course, been doing it right now, for this current semester that has just finished. But actually, even in previous years, DCU has been a real pioneer in online learning. So the quality of what you're going to get at DCU is really very high.